You're listening to Podcast PXN, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo. Let's do this. What's up, guys? Welcome to Podcast PXN, episode 33. I am one of your hosts, Daniel Prindle, aka Dan is DTM on Twitter, and I am joined by the pride of PlayStation over Discord, Sean Babiak. Sean, what in the world is going on with Halo Infinite? We have more Halo stuff to talk about today. How excited are you?
Two things. One, you are incredibly loud.
Oh
my God.
God,
I had to
sorry.
turn down my speakers.
Sorry.
And two, I just want to preface this when you get into the topic of the show. I seceded to letting him have this episode. I want to be very clear with that. I had no intentions of having this episode, but Daniel was uber excited, and you cannot contain him.
You cannot contain me at all. Just as a reminder, we are live each and every week on YouTube. Just search Podcast PXN and you will find us on there. Thank you to everyone watching us live in the chat. The topic of the show this week is the two rumored Xbox events, along with some Halo Infinite rumors to kind of go along with that as well. But first, the show always starts with the PXN news of the week, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Right, Sean? Crysis remastered has been announced, so that was the news last week that we were waiting on. We were waiting on this news. Coming to PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch, oddly enough. But all of those platforms getting Crysis remastered. What do you think about this?
I don't know. I was, more excited for the simple fact of the possibility of a new one. But I guess we should have known with the Switch that was no way at all going to happen. That was pretty much kind of the iceberg, if you will. Like, we should have realized, okay, there's this little bit at the top, maybe some hope. Then down at the bottom, no, it's just remasters.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, that's cool, especially for a lot of people that haven't played these games. I know they came to the PS3 and Xbox 360, if I remember correctly.
Yep. I played on 360.
Yeah, that's why I think I played at least the second one. So it is really cool for a lot of gamers that didn't get this, ever get the chance to play this, because you and I were talking about how this used to be a benchmark series for graphics.
Oh yeah, the fact that the Switch can handle this game is incredible.
I'd be surprised. Because I actually almost a few weeks ago bought The Witcher 3 on Switch.
Yeah.
Because I saw some sort of crazy deal, but then I started watching videos of it, and that game is one of the games that I feel like I would love to look at continuously, and I decided not to.
Yeah, that's the type of game that you like. Crysis is what I'm talking about. Is the type of game that you get specifically for how beautiful that game is. I just don't feel like the Switch would do that game justice. I don't know. Maybe they'll do something magical with that port, but
yeah, I would agree. Yeah, it's like I said, I think it's just cool that people get to play it, but
yeah,
I think you've made mention to this, how it's going to be a very odd world come this fall when the Switch will be, it'll sound weird to say, but almost a generation and a half behind.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of graphical fidelity and power.
Yep.
But Nintendo at least can always make it work. It's just, are other developers going to do the same?
Yeah. No, that's kind of what Nintendo's mantra has been the last few generations. It's pretty much their content, and that's it. Obviously Switch got a little bit better with ports, but Wii U generation was pretty much only first-party titles, so yeah.
That's, in a sense, all I bought.
Right, yeah. So, I don't know. That's interesting. Moving on to our next news story, Jason Schreier from Kotaku. He's the guy who always breaks big news in the industry that we are often reporting about. I think he's leaked every single Assassin's Creed game in the last 10 years. Because
he's the most respected journalist in the game, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's always got the scoop. He's basically the Jeff Keighley of game news reporting, I'd say. is a good comparison. But he's leaving Kotaku and he has joined Bloomberg News. So I thought this was kind of an interesting news story because Jason Schreier, he had a very loud voice when it came to the parent company to Kotaku being like a big conglomeration type that they had some disputes. I can't remember what the disputes were about, but they had some kind of disputes going on, and I feel like that might be why he wanted to leave Kotaku. But then he's joining another giant media conglomerate in Bloomberg, which is, I don't know, I guess that's kind of a weird place to move to because they don't even really do much with games. So
besides leak PS4, PS5 stuff, apparently.
Exactly, yeah, which we will talk about next. But I just thought that was interesting. I guess they're just trying to build like a game section at Bloomberg, I would imagine. He did say something about like their tech team editors telling him that they appreciated his coverage of the video game industry's labor issues right now, like with crunch and all of that going on. So what do you think about that?
Well, one, and you actually made mention on this on last week's episode, so I kind of think it's funny, but I really don't have a reason to go to Kotaku now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
not
true.
to be that type of guy that just follows one journalist, but you and I always talk about how well he does for them, and again, much respected in the entire industry. I don't think anybody can do the type of job he does and do it so unbiased, if that makes any sense.
Oh, I agree.
I any of his articles, I never feel like he is taking the gamer side or taking the company side or the developers. He is just delivering the news straight up to you.
Yeah.
So it's always refreshing. The other thing that I'm really kind of sticks out of my mind, Bloomberg is obviously a very known news corporation. Obviously, or infamously, Bloomberg failing in his presidential campaign.
Right. Yeah.
But in my mind, this means that finally we're getting more serious talk of gaming in news coverage. So many media outlets have movie, TV reviews, and that's the only media they focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, Daniel, how long has it been known that games outmake both movies and television combined?
Yeah, I mean, forever. Yeah,
exactly. So it makes sense, I guess, to get the top person in the industry as far as journalists.
Yeah, and
to have him basically give that lead to them for a industry that, in my mind, at this point, is only booming. I mean, what, you can't even get a Switch? Like, yeah, it feels like we're back in the Wii launch days. You can't find a Switch at all.
Yeah, Animal Crossing is blowing up. I've seen just regular people that I don't ever see talk about video games tweeting out that they're playing Animal Crossing. I'm like, what the heck? What's going on here? Yeah.
And you can't find PS4s. You can't find at least the Xbox One S in stock, which at this point you should get an X if you get an Xbox anyways. The deal's too good to pass up.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy how video games are really coming into their own just due to this pandemic. You don't really have much to do.
Yeah.
And it's a hobby you and I have always loved. So is everybody that's probably listening to this podcast. So it's going to just continue getting bigger after this whole thing.
Which I wonder if this whole thing blowing up, the timing of it blowing up now rather than blowing up in the fall or something, I wonder if that will actually hurt next-gen sales because everyone's buying a bunch of old consoles now. Are they going to want to buy another console here in what, 6 months or so? That's kind of interesting to think about it that way, but the mainstream, person playing video games may not necessarily care about Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5.
Yeah, I mean, I can see your point of view. I mean, we'll go into it in a little bit, but just due to the pricing and probably lack thereof, that could be a very big selling point for people non-selling point of why am I going to get this new box?
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing to think of is, and we've said this a million times, is your PS4, your Xbox One games are going to be working on the next gen. And essentially vice versa, because they have both stated they are not making for the first year current gen at that point games.
Right. Yeah. Exclusive game. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, the only thing you have to essentially lose, and maybe this is kind of where you and I step in, is that conversation,
Yeah.
that experience of being with people in a launch year.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. And I don't think that this will necessarily affect like you and I or like the enthusiasts out there, but yeah, that's definitely interesting if it'll affect like mainstream sales. But
Yeah, and maybe that's why Bloomberg got ahead of this and made Schreier an offer because of what's coming this fall, knowing how consoles technically never died, even though I guarantee Bloomberg was one of those companies that said it was going to die.
right, yeah,
But maybe now seeing, okay, not only are they not dying, they're thriving. Because
hmm
I don't even care as much crap as I'll say about Xbox One being behind, they're still doing freaking amazing.
yeah,
Like, so it's just astronomical, I think, what's going to continue with gaming culture.
yeah. I agree. Kind of to piggyback off of that, speaking of Bloomberg, there's a new Bloomberg report actually that says PlayStation 5 is going to have far fewer units produced in the first year than PS4's launch. And there was a few reasons why they said it. That they talked about their COVID-19 affected PR plans, and that Sony may end up foregoing a press conference for PlayStation 5's release date and their price point. So they may do something like just like a digital thing that video that they put out for that. But they said that game developers are currently anticipating $499 to $549 PlayStation 5 price point, which is interesting. It seems a little bit higher than what I was imagining, but if it's 500, I think again we could see a situation where both consoles are 500 and have a little bit more of a decision coming from the consumer when they're the same price. But also PlayStation 4 Pro and regular PS4 price cuts were considered as well. So the interesting thing, they almost cited their price point as not like a COVID-19 deal, like not like limited supplies issue, but as a situation where they don't anticipate the economic market being at a place where consumers are going to want to spend a ton of money next generation. So they're kind of lowering their expectations for how many they're going to sell because their price point is a lot higher. If it's $500, it's $100 more than what the PlayStation 4 was at launch, which in my eyes, that's obviously more what Microsoft did with their PR strategy for Xbox One. It was awful, and they ruined that. But I think another huge thing to Sony's advantage last generation was that $100 difference in price point for the first, 2 years. It was 2 years that the Kinect stayed bundled with the Xbox One until they took it out. And that's a huge advantage, $100 difference, because someone looks at a $100 less box, they're going to buy that. So
I would agree. I mean, that's why you had so many converters of the 360 days. I don't buy into the whole it was all Call of Duty. I believe it was more just due to money.
Well, no, it wasn't, because if you remember at the start of this generation, Microsoft still had their marketing agreement with Activision, because Call of Duty Ghosts and
Best one in the series.
Oh no. Call of Duty Ghosts, Call of Duty Ghosts, and the one after that, I believe. I know Ghosts for sure, but I don't know about the one after that. Was still on Microsoft's marketing plan, which
it ran out after Ghosts.
Did it? Okay, so Ghosts was the last one, but that launched with the Xbox One and PS4. So I wouldn't cite that at all as a reason.
No, and I just say that anecdotally. I mean, it's very interesting how this is. For one, let's be clear, it's not been confirmed or at all. This is just a reported leak, more or less. I think it's interesting that they are anticipating a economic struggle, because in my mind, this is all still very new.
Mm-hmm.
This is only essentially a month and a half old as far as across the world, besides China, that is dealing with this COVID-19 stuff. So I feel like this price point was in mind beforehand. It
Yep.
would just be the wording of it had to be tailored to now the world that we're in.
Sure.
And I don't have, and let me be clear, I don't have a problem with either one of these boxes' price points. Mostly because I understand that as we get further and further into whatever a next gen is, that's kind of what I'm anticipating.
Yeah.
I would agree when it came to PS3, 600 for the box, way too much at that time. I would agree Xbox One, 500 for the box with that Kinect packed in, that was way too much.
Yeah.
But this time around, I understand if both of them are around 500. It makes sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah. The power is just significantly higher in obviously like inflation and stuff like that. People tend to forget. I forget. Like this generation was 7 years ago. That's crazy to think about, but it was 7 years ago, and obviously things go up in price over time. And I feel like we've had a pretty consistent console price point within that $400 to $500 window. So I don't feel like this is definitely out of proportion at all.
No.
I think, as we've already talked about, I think the most important, but the most interesting thing to watch is to see like what happens between Xbox and PlayStation's price points. I think that's the most interesting thing to come out of all of this. And how does that fit in? And is Series S going to happen? And what's that going to be priced at? And it's just, there's a lot of factors that are very interesting this gen.
Yeah, and I can only imagine that, and again, I don't have any data or anything to back that up. It's just a gut feeling. But I have a feeling this isn't the last we've heard of possible shortages when it comes to supplies, because factories are still shut down across the world. So I could understand, like, I know maybe it'll be Sony coming out of the gate first saying that, but Microsoft is kind of getting the same microchips and all those parts from the same area. So I can see them almost going the same route, probably tailoring it a little better as far as the PR speech, because Phil Spencer does a better job, I think, in tailoring news, even if it's bad news. Mm-hmm. Like, you didn't think the, what's it called? The Dragon game that I actually wanted to play. That got canceled.
Crap.
My God.
Scalebound.
Scalebound, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, he did not tailor it so Scalebound was this utter disaster. He just basically said it's not living up to the standards we want for a first-party game.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that makes sense completely.
Yeah. So I don't know. It'll be very interesting. The one thing I will say, as far as for myself as a gamer, it would really, if by chance the PS5 ends up being higher priced than the Xbox X or Xbox Series X, it would make me kind of think. Granted, as you know, I want a PS5, like that's my console choice, but if it is a cheaper price point, I could look at it almost just like I did the Xbox One in this generation, where cool, when the games come out that I want, that's when I'll buy that system.
Right, and we don't even know what Sony has at launch yet. Like, we know a couple of Xbox exclusives. We have no idea what PlayStation exclusives we're getting as of yet. I would imagine something like Horizon sequel and maybe something to supplement it, but we just don't know right now, so still
Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, I mean, that could be. Very well could be. They better not make me buy it a second time, though. if it doesn't come out after that, who knows? It might launch with
I think
PS5.
It'll be like a Breath of the Wild type thing. You can either get it on your PS4 or your PS5.
I honestly hope they do that. I mean, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but
we did, yeah.
Moving on, Sony, to kind of piggyback on this, Sony has filed a patent for a robotic gaming companion that reacts to your emotions. So this is kind of weird because, like, with all the stuff that Sony has going on with PSVR and PS5 and all of that stuff, they come up with a companion, robotic companion. Obviously, this is just a patent. It's not an actual product right now. But I don't know what the hell this who is this catered towards? I'm not really sure. Like, it's literally, if you look at the image for the patent, it's like a little character that looks like goofy looking sitting next to you on the couch while you're playing a game. And it's kind of, I'm just trying to think like what uses you could make out of that. I don't.
It's for people that never got over Rob the Robot for the Nintendo system.
Is that what it is?
That's all it is. That's all it is for.
Yeah.
I mean, I will give Sony this. Recently, they've been very successful in their peripherals department. PSVR is a success. But again, I kind of echo your statements. Who is this for? What is this for?
Yeah.
Is this just something that they develop the technology and they're just like, hey, let's just keep it to ourselves type deal?
Yeah, and that's possible because companies do that stuff all the time.
The only thing that kind of makes me nervous that it could be real is this generation really coming up seems like they want to figure out the most immersive way to have you in a game. Do you remember, and I don't know if you do, but there used to be a commercial a long time ago when the PS2 launched for the PS9.
PS9?
Yeah, it was a very famous commercial because it was like a kid running around these buildings, shooting guards and all this stuff, and like doing like gamey things. And then he suddenly takes off his headset, and then it flashes a PS9 logo, and then it says coming soon, but then the PS2.
What?
So it was
what?
It was like something in the early 2000s, but it was always a commercial that stuck out with me. So like, is this their lead up to PS9? Like, is this how they get you into the game?
What? No.
Like remember that movie Gamer?
What
with,
yes, with shoot.
The 300 guy. I can't remember his name. Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yep.
Like that's what it feels like Sony's trying to lead us to.
What if this robot is actually the PS9 and you have to put the discs into its mouth?
I would buy it just for the hilarity then. That would sell me on it. God.
All right. Well, let's just hope that this isn't actually going to come to fruition because I don't see the added benefit to this thing, and you have to imagine how much this thing would cost. Like what, $300 for a peripheral? I don't know.
Possibly, and also it would really do would be a speaker in a sense. Like that's just all I'm kind of thinking of.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. But anyways, just a patent, so.
Remember, it is a Japanese company.
Yeah, true. They make weird games.
They do make weird games. They make weird peripherals.
Yeah.
So you never know.
True. Moving on, Mick Gordon from Doom fame is not returning for the next Doom game. It's being reported he actually announced it himself. So he's the one responsible for all the Doom soundtracks in the last few years, Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. So this kind of sucks because like all of his soundtrack stuff in Doom Eternal sounds freaking amazing. I love that soundtrack, and even Doom 2016 as well. But like Doom Eternal has so many different variations from the history of Doom that you can collect, and it's so awesome to hear all of them. Like I was just going through like on the walls where it collects the soundtracks or whatever, like the vinyls, and you go through and play them at your home hub base. Like that's super cool just to do that. So I hope whoever replaces him still does as good of a job as what he did, because man, that Doom soundtrack is iconic.
I will say that is the bummer of the week.
Yeah.
That I was telling you this before the show. Like, I listen to the first soundtrack like twice a week. I just love the soundtrack itself. I'm not even like playing the game. I'm just listening to the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Obviously, as somebody who loves metal music, and especially the way that he incorporates it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. It is just an amazing way that he like. You just feel so much more in the action. Like you hear that constant like bass in the background.
Oh yeah.
When you're just kind of walking around exploring, and then you know shit's about to go crazy when you hear that guitar kind of slide down and rip, and then just the whole entire time while you're in that fight, it's just escalating while you're just getting crazier and crazier with your stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing. That was my impression.
Yeah, it is. Like Rip and Tear is such a great theme song.
Yeah.
Like, it will be hard to replace him.
And, like, even when you're playing the game, it feels like you're timing, like, all of your kills, like the glory kills and stuff. It feels like you're timing it to the music, too, because it's so chaotic and fast-paced, and the gameplay is so chaotic and fast-paced that it really feels like it melds perfectly. So.
Oh, yeah, it's guttural in that sound.
Yeah, so good. So, hopefully, whoever replaces him does a decent job there. Moving on, you hadn't seen this news, which I was surprised about because this is right up your alley. Mario Maker 2 got a new update announced, and it's actually coming out today. It's already out today. I just read that. I thought it was out later, next week or something, but it's out today, and the new update essentially has a ton of new items in the game and some new mechanics as well. Like one of the cool mechanics that I saw was like this tube thing that like you can basically throw stuff in the tube and it follows the tube up around wherever you create the tube path, and then it can cause something else to happen, almost like Rube Goldberg type things. But they announced that. They announced some new items like the frog suit and the flying suit as well. They also announced, the biggest thing they announced was actually the new Super World Maker mode. So essentially, you can create your own Mario game inside of Mario Maker now. So before, you could just create levels and you could publish those levels for people to play. Well, now you can take those levels and put it into a overworld like every traditional 2D Mario game has been, where you travel through the overworld to each level, like 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, etc. And then you just go through till the end of the castle. And I think this is awesome because this is just enabling creators to basically go crazy with whatever they want to create for Mario Maker now. They can create their own Mario games. Like, this is awesome.
Oh, I definitely want to jump in because you can only imagine what some of these people are creating with downtime at home right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, easily. And
yeah.
I'm looking at the footage. Some of the new stuff is really cool. Like you can use like the bullet dude. I forget what they call that.
Bullet Bill.
Bullet Bill. Yeah, you can control that. So like you can use him to platform through stages. That's one of the new items as well. There's a lot of new enemies. I think all of the traditional Bowser enemies, like the little guys, his children, I guess, are they his children? I'm not sure.
Oh God! Don't try to dissect that canonically. They're not his children, but the only children of his is Bowser Jr. It's weird. It's weird.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever you want to call his minions are all in it as well that you can add to the overworld as well. So there's some really cool things. Nintendo tweeted out a video that I definitely recommend you checking out if you have Mario Maker or if you're interested in checking it out. There's a lot of stuff in there. So.
Yeah, I definitely need to. Maybe when I get a chance after Final Fantasy VII, I will.
Yep, for sure. Moving on to the last news story. This is just kind of a, I don't know, housekeeping thing. The Xbox Series X logo has been revealed. So obviously, this logo isn't going to appear like physically on the console or anything. This is just like essentially marketing material. So anytime you see Xbox Series X, it'll have this logo. So I mean, the logo looks like a logo. It says Series X, and it has like the X like with the cross through the X. I mean, it's a logo.
If you look inside of it, it'll tell you the price,
yeah,
the release date.
Oh, that would be funny actually if they did that. Cause what was that? They did a video last year before E3, and I can't remember. It teased something. Trying to think what it teased. I can't remember. They showed a video before E3 last year, and it was to tease one of their announcements. They had it in like the background of the scenery, like detailing their Xbox E3 event. And in the lights in the background, they had something flash up like very subtly that no one noticed for a while. And then they found it, and they're like, "Oh, that's an Easter egg for the conference." I can't remember what it was, but yeah, that would be funny if they had something like that in this logo reveal. I don't think they do, but Yeah, that would be funny.
We'll find out next week after data miners get a hold of it.
Yeah, true. Moving on to the games we are playing. So the games we are playing episode for me this week is going to basically make it seem like I am now a PC gamer. So I've been playing a lot of PC games this week. So the first one I've been playing, Valorant. I got a beta key from Riot. Basically, you have to watch Twitch streams of people playing Valorant in order to get a key. So I got one and played a few matches of it. It is a lot of fun. Like, it is essentially, if you think about Overwatch combined with Counter-Strike, that's essentially what it is. It is really good. I definitely recommend people checking it out. If you haven't seen it before, check it out on Twitch. There's a lot of cool things in there. The gunplay is very much Counter-Strike, but then they have abilities in there like Overwatch, where you have like a healing character. You have like an assault character that has like assault abilities. You can put up walls. There's all kinds of stuff that the characters have. It's a really fun game though. Really enjoying it so far. The next one I have is I've been playing MCC Insider, which that's Master Chief Collection, of course. Halo 2 on PC. So they just released a test build on Friday. They started Friday, and I think it runs through this Thursday, maybe, or Friday. And essentially, they're testing Halo 2 on PC. That's the next game to be released in Master Chief Collection on PC. And it plays phenomenally on PC. Honestly, Halo 2 Anniversary is the one game that I feel like it feels like it was made for PC in Master Chief Collection so far. That's come out for PC. Like that game is really good, and obviously OG Halo 2 still holds up really, really well as well. So I would imagine that will probably officially launch next week because it's gone very well, actually. It's gone smoother than CE and Reach did on PC. So I think that will probably launch sometime next week, according to what's going on with that test. My final game that I've been playing, of course, Valorant kind of made me get back into this. I used to play Counter-Strike back in the day, but I've been playing Counter-Strike Global Offensive on PC as well. That game still holds up extremely well. Came out in 2011, I believe. And that game is it's really good. Like, you just cannot discount how good Valve is at making games. That game came out almost 10 years ago, and it still holds up incredibly well. And I had a lot of fun playing Counter-Strike again. However, I will put the disclaimer that I probably won't be playing it for a little bit now because I just saw today that there's that their source code was leaked, and there's a new exploit that people can basically take over your PC while playing Counter-Strike. So I'm going to yes. Yeah, it's a major security problem right now, so I'm probably not going to play it for a little bit until they figure that out. But
yeah, that's insane.
It's a major problem, yeah. So that's my games. I'm now a PC gamer. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess so. So the P is no longer for PlayStation.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Xbox, oh, wait, I screwed it up already. PC, Xbox, Nintendo. Wait, I don't even know what my end pocket... Wait, PC... Oh, yeah, that was right.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, everyone.
So I have nothing new. Final Fantasy VII, but I wish I could say I beat it. I maybe did like an hour more this week. Unfortunately, I was helping my parents move in, and with work still being a little crazy, dealing with all that stuff. I did want to say something though, real quick. Before I do want to beat Final Fantasy VII, obviously, but dude, I've been seeing so many freaking videos of God of War, the PS4.
Yeah.
I really want to go back to it. Like, super want to go back to it.
That's a beefy game.
It is, and especially because, like, I unlocked hard mode, so I want to play it on that, and that game was already decently challenging at times.
Yeah, for sure.
So I kind of want to do that adventure, but I've also been trying to talk myself into going back and playing Spider-Man again as well.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, and I've never played the DLC. I know it was decent. Like
Yeah.
I know it wasn't what people were hoping, but at the same time, it's DLC. You're just getting extra. You're not getting the game.
Yeah.
I guess unless you're CD Projekt Red.
Well, that's true.
But yeah, I do want to get back into that eventually. But hopefully, I'll have more to say about Final Fantasy next week.
Cool. Moving on to our topic of the show. So our topic of the show this week, there are a lot of rumors right now saying that there are 2 Xbox events that are coming up in the next couple months. So the first one is apparently coming in May. Again, these are all leaks and speculation. None of this is confirmed. The first event is coming in May, showing hardware and possibly Halo Infinite gameplay and Fable Reboot, as well as maybe Forza, I'm hearing as well. But alongside all of the hardware announcements, which the hardware announcements one is the one that throws me because I'm like, they've already pretty much revealed Xbox Series X. I mean, what else do they have to reveal about it? And then I was like, well, obviously, if they don't really have a lot to talk about Series X, then maybe they're going to announce Series S that has been heavily speculated, the lower-end model of next-gen. So if they announce that, as well as some gameplay from next-gen games like Halo, I will flip out if we get some freaking Halo finally. That would be incredible. And then their second event, according to this, would be in June to replace E3. So essentially the one in June would just be their E3 conference that they would have had if that was still taking place. So that's all interesting. There was also, in that same report, there was something that said that there would be a new exclusive IP from a Japanese studio, which I know Phil has talked about in the past, wanting to add like a Japanese studio to his portfolio, because obviously Xbox doesn't really make any ground up in Japan. They're always dead last in Japan. So that's definitely interesting as well. I have a ton of Halo stuff that we can go over, but we can talk about the Xbox stuff first. So I think this format is kind of interesting, and I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are. What do you think that they would show off in that first event, other than, hardware? I'm just not sure what else they would show hardware related other than like another console.
So I think you're right as far as Halo, and I also believe Forza. I think it's still too early to maybe mention that the Fable reboot, hey, it's official, even though we all know it's official.
Yeah.
Maybe announce it. I still think it's too early to show anything off, and I don't think it's a launch game.
No. It's not going to be launch.
Yeah, because it just doesn't seem... Fable is so... I don't want to say niche, but that's kind of the only word I could think of, because it's a very beloved first and second game, much maligned third game.
Yeah, Peter Molyneux. Ugh.
Yeah, so it's not like a system seller, whereas Halo would be.
Right.
I remember Halo 3 lines for Xbox 360 were more about people having a copy of Halo 3 than they were about getting the actual console.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I think in that sense, it's going to be those two games focused as far as Forza and Halo. Probably some sort of third-party deal. Capcom's recently been giving them a lot of love. I mean, Devil May Cry 5 was shown on their stage first.
True. Maybe Assassin's Creed Ragnarok?
Possibly. I think that's going to be probably the biggest get for whoever does an event. I was kind of thinking that because NBA, we obviously still don't know what happened with NBA, and that's normally announced during that time.
Yeah.
That I honestly think IGN is going to get that grab for their summer. I think is it summer show? I can't remember what it's called again.
Summer of Gaming, is it?
That might be what it is.
Yeah.
So I really see that being their get. But, I mean, that wouldn't be a bad one for Xbox to have, too.
Yeah, I agree. And Assassin's Creed is the franchise that kind of, they go back and forth between being on Xbox and PlayStation stage. I know, like, there's a bunch of games that were on PlayStation stage, like, I believe Origins was on their stage, but then Odyssey was on Xboxes, or maybe vice versa.
And
But
I know Unity and Syndicate were on
Xbox.
Black Flag was on Sony's.
Yes, yep. So they keep going back and forth. So that's definitely a possibility. As far as the Halo Infinite stuff, there is, and you did mention Halo 3. Let me give you the credit for that. Halo Infinite, in case you didn't know.
That's all you're getting from me.
Halo Infinite, in case you didn't know, is 343's Halo 3. Did you know that, Sean?
I didn't. You're like that girl from, whatchamacallit, Mean Girls, where you're trying to make fetch happen. You're trying to make this happen.
I'm just saying, Sean, it is logistically their Halo 3. It's their third game that they've made. So I'm just pointing out some similarities there.
Halo 5 wasn't the success of Halo 2, let's be real.
Well, it was divisive like Halo 2 was. Back in the day, Halo 2 was very divisive because of Arbiter taking half of the missions.
Which was stupid, because his missions were actually better than the Chiefs in that game.
Yeah, and Arbiter was a great character, but in that time, it was a very controversial decision for them to make, and people were very surprised about it at the time. But obviously, Halo 5 is divisive because of how bad the campaign is in general. But anyways, Halo Infinite, there is a 4chan post that has kind of detailed some things. Normally, this kind of stuff comes up a lot. Like, it comes up with a lot of things. But with me being in the Halo community and following this a lot, this is one that kind of peaked up to the top and kind of grabbed my attention because a lot of what they're saying in here makes sense as to where I thought 343 would have to go for Halo Infinite and kind of be that next step in the franchise. So this, I'm just going to read a few things out here and kind of go over them. But there's apparently going to be 25 main missions, totaling a total of 20-hour campaign, and 35 side missions for an additional 15 hours of the campaign. So that in total, that's 35 hours of campaign content, and that's not including collectibles, Easter eggs, or anything like that. This is very interesting because every single Halo game has been like 10 or 11 missions or less. And like for them to essentially over double that size of scope in just the main missions, and then they're adding obviously side missions as well, that's a substantial increase for that game. And you might say, well, why would they do it that big? Well, the reason is the game has been in development for 5 years now, for one, and for two, they keep talking about how they want to harp back to the original franchise and the original game. And the original game gave you that sense of exploration and having large environments and basically feeling like you could explore anything. And I feel like that's the angle they're going for. Their initial reveal trailer shows Chief out in this gigantic open space, and then he takes the Warthog and starts driving across the ring in this giant open space. I think that's a very good indication of what we're going to see from Halo's campaign in Infinite, and this kind of backs that up in that regard. The interesting thing, so those side missions that I referred to, so you can play the campaign, just the main missions, and you'll play Chief throughout the entire campaign. All 25 missions, according to this report. All 25 missions will be Master Chief only, and then you will have the side missions that will consist of a ton of featured characters. So essentially you play as these featured characters in the side missions that supplement the main story. So basically you see things that you didn't see playing as Chief in the same time that you're doing the main missions for Chief. So like this is exciting because the Halo character base, like they are such good characters in that game. You've got Kelly, Linda, Fred, who are obviously Blue Team from Halo 5. Those are great characters in the books. They did not expand upon them well enough in Halo 5. They were not very well fleshed out in Halo 5. If you didn't know them from the books, you would be like, oh, those are just, character A, B, and C. You wouldn't really care. So they definitely have a lot to flesh out with them in the games. You've got Jerome, Alice and Douglas, which are all Spartans as well. Spartan Palmer from Halo 5 and Halo 4. Spartan Locke, yes, to our dismay, he's listed on here. Sean, do you have
I cut out my work. My work called me. My bad.
Oh no, you're good. Do you have a comment on Spartan Locke being in Halo Infinite?
I am hoping for continuous great things that he did in Halo 5, according to you. Again, I've yet to ever play it.
Yeah. Spartan Locke
I am super surprised about this side quest things, and you and I had this discussion.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that kind of upsets me about this, because obviously maybe me thinking more of an Xbox Series X at this moment.
Yeah.
Halo would be a game that I would get regardless of how much I make fun of you for it. It would be a game that it's one of those must-have games. You have to have that like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
If you have a Switch and don't have that, which my friend Chris does, you're an insane person. You don't make any sense of this world.
Hell, you should have 2 copies of it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So that would be a game I do, but I just don't like the side quest option, only because I feel like it's an RPG mechanic, and I am not for every game having RPG mechanics. I think it should stay how it is, but it is an interesting dichotomy of how it's developing it, as far as, okay, it's a side quest, but it's not a side quest. All it is almost a bonus mission.
Yeah.
But it's told through a different lens of a character.
Yeah. Essentially, that's what it sounds like. It's essentially just the same area that you're going through as Chief, but you're experiencing different things because you're seeing a different perspective in that same mission, essentially. It just sounds interesting to me to be able to play as all of the characters, because there's so many great characters, as all the ones I listed, as well as I didn't get to Buck. I love Buck. Nathan Fillion could voice any character, and I love him. There's also Arbiter. Arbiter's listed on here. Atriox, who is actually the main enemy in Halo Wars 2. And he's a brute, so that's super interesting because you play as him. Brutes have never been playable in Halo, so that would be super cool. And then after all that, there's some ambitious multiplayer plans as well that were being talked about in here. That apparently, after you beat the campaign, you unlock this exploration mode. So essentially, this lets you explore the open world environments without being restricted to the campaign, and you get to use your multiplayer Spartan instead of Chief. And the locations that you can visit are Installation 07, 04C, which those are both Halo installations. The Ark, which is the big spaceship-looking thing from Halo 3, Earth, and Reach, which that's very interesting. If you can visit Reach, then there must be some kind of story element going to Reach, which the book that's coming in September is actually a prequel to Halo Infinite, and they've already confirmed that that game or that book takes place on Reach, so that's kind of interesting. But they also said one more location that they won't mention because it's a huge spoiler for the main story, which that's fine. I don't want to have my story spoiled. And also, as a side note, they said playable elites would return to multiplayer with full armor customization, along with the introduction of playable brutes, which that would be interesting because obviously, as I just said, brutes have never been playable in Halo, and if they're going to make Atriox playable in the campaign, it just makes sense that you would have that character model for multiplayer as well. I kind of wonder, how are they going to balance, brutes versus elites versus Spartans, and what that kind of looks like. But yeah, that sounds very, very interesting. A lot of really cool stuff in this leak that I'm very excited about. And it just kind of harps back to what I was saying before, that they are trying to make this the most complete Halo game to ever come out and make it as ambitious as they possibly can while still making it accessible to new players as well. And that's another reason why I think those side missions might come in handy as well, because not everyone may know about all of these side characters that I just mentioned, and maybe you playing as them in Halo Infinite, you'll get some more backstory on them, and you'll be like, oh, wow, I really like this character. Let me find out more about this character in this book or whatever media that character comes from. I just think it's really cool, and I really, really hope that a lot of this, if not all of this, comes to fruition, because it is very, very exciting, and as I said before, Sean, this is 343's Halo 3.
The only thing that I need them to do is keep their promise to go back to couch co-op. That's the only thing that I want.
Bonnie Ross already confirmed that.
Exactly, yeah, and they admitted that in Halo 5 that was a mistake because they didn't think that many gamers still did it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I get that, but at the same time, like, why would you take it away? So as long as they still have that, that would definitely be something on my alley. TVs are only bigger, which means your space is only bigger. I get it. Graphic fidelity is more, but still, I can only imagine, especially on your newish TV, like that'll just even look prettier.
Oh yeah, yeah. I cannot wait. I literally can't wait. All right. Any other thoughts?
No, I will say to round out the show, I am now only at maybe 65-35 in favor of the PS5 at the moment.
Ooh, did that shift?
It shifted. I mean, I was 100% on PS5. My issue is that I am hearing more and more about the Xbox, which gives me more and more confidence in the system.
Yeah.
And PS5 has remained dead silent, and to me it's just an odd time in this world to be silent about your next gen hardware. I get it, you're number one, but you made the same mistake going into PS3. Don't get cocky. And
that's that actually made me think of one more thing. I was talking to one of my buddies, Ian, and we were talking about price point and stuff, and he's like, well, I just don't see Microsoft cutting their price of the console so much that they would match PlayStation 5's price or even beat it. And I'm like, well, there's one important thing that you're not realizing. Like, Microsoft is a $1 trillion company. Sony is like a couple, I don't know, few billion. I don't remember exactly how many they are, but they're like a few hundred billion or something like that. That's not even close to comparison to a $1 trillion company. Microsoft can afford to take the loss on the initial investment of the console. And Phil has said on record that he has backing from Satya Nadella, who's the CEO of Microsoft, to make that price point competitive. And Phil said many times he wants to win. With that being said, as every day we get closer to it, I kind of feel like McCaffrey may not have been as crazy as he said when he said that the price may be less, although I still think that they're both going to be 500. He may not be entirely crazy that they may get a lesser price point.
No, I just think we always have to look at Xbox is so minuscule compared to their software side.
Yes.
That it's not really something that they necessarily have to excel on.
True. That is true. I think that kind of rounds out our show. Thank you guys for watching live in the chat. I know we've had a consistent 3 watchers throughout the stream. They've been very quiet this entire time. I don't know who you are, but thank you. Appreciate you guys watching. And just as a reminder, you can join us each and every week on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter at Podcast PXN and Facebook as well, Podcast PXN. And that is it. Thank you guys, and much love, and keep on gaming.
Deuces.